Your Eye on Annapolis daily news brief keeps you informed about what's happening in Annapolis, Anne Arundel County, and Maryland. Local news, local sports, local events, local opinion, and, of course, local weather. Your Eye on Annapolis daily news brief starts now.
Good morning. It's Monday, September 14th, 2020. This is John Frenaye, and this is your Eye on Annapolis daily news brief. 2 spectacular weekends in a row. What are the odds for Maryland? But boy, I'll tell you, we had another great weekend this weekend. I was able to get out on the Cross Kent Island bike trail yesterday, and it was a great time. Stopped at Fisherman's Crab Deck, ran into Kevin from Shellback Sports, had a cocktail and a dinner, and headed on back. All right, so let's get into it. On Thursday, September 10th, the Anne Arundel County Police Department's Child Abuse Unit interviewed a juvenile victim who reported that she was at the South River High School in Edgewater for a soccer practice, which was organized by a soccer coach. He's been identified as a 52-year-old male from the 4400 block of Indigo Lane in Harwood, Maryland, and apparently what happened, she was seated in her car as the coach was talking with her and standing in the open doorway of her car. He said, "Hey," and the female turned in his direction, and the coach tried to kiss her, at which time she turned away, and he kissed her cheek. The coach then stated, "No," at which time the victim stated, "No." The suspect did walk back to his car, returned a short time later, and said, "Let's not make a big deal about this." Well, the police, in conjunction with the state's attorney's office, have charged him with second-degree assault. The Anne Arundel County Police are urging anybody that may be another victim or with any information regarding this case to call them at 410-222-4733. Now, the suspect was a coach at Anne Arundel County Public Schools. They did confirm that he was part of the athletic staff at Southern High School. His contract has been terminated. The Anne Arundel County Police are also investigating a homicide that happened just before midnight on Saturday up in Glen Burnie. At 11:44, the police were called for a report of a fight and an injured subject in the 500 block of Delaware Avenue. When they responded, they found a 28-year-old male suffering from a gunshot wound to the chest. He did succumb to his injuries on the scene. Police say that a fight broke out, and the suspect who did the shooting fled the scene, perhaps in a vehicle, but in an unknown direction. They do not believe that there isn't any ongoing threat to the community. You want to check back with eyeonannapolis.net a little bit later on this morning because we do expect an update later today on that one. Here's a heartbreaking story, and it's a follow-up to a story we brought to you back in July of 2019. There was a teenage mother, and her mother had misplaced a heroin capsule. A 9-month-old child found it, ingested it, and as he was reacting to the heroin, Mom and Grandmom returned to Baltimore to get more heroin to replace the capsule that they couldn't find. When they returned, they went to sleep, and the child was found unresponsive and deceased the following morning. Now, the child's grandmother, who was identified as Lori Taylor, 44, of Curtis Bay, was sentenced on September 11th to 25 years in prison with 10 years suspended. And on the sentence, Ann Colt-Litis, who is the state's attorney for Anne Arundel County, said the death of this innocent baby due to this reckless behavior of his family members is beyond unconscionable. The defendant and her daughter chose to purchase heroin, use heroin, and then failed to get medical help for a 9-month-old Nair, that's the infant's name, after he had ingested their heroin, which directly led to his death. Their actions show how addiction does not only affect the users, but can fatally impact the most vulnerable in our households. And some better crime news today. The Annapolis Police Department has announced the awarding of their scholarship fund winners for 2020. They are Eva Coleman, Robert Dews, and Danae Pritchett, all of Annapolis High School, and Alexis Tackney of St. Mary's High School. Now, the scholarships are funded through anonymous benefactors, their Spring Fling fundraiser, which actually was not held in 2020, but it will be held in 2021. Community donations, and actually a great partnership with Papa John's Pizza. And also, for the second year in a row, an anonymous donor has made a generous contribution in memory of those killed in the attack on the Capital Gazette offices back in June of 2018. The scholarship program was established in 2015, and to be eligible, you need to have a 2.7 GPA and live in the city of Annapolis and demonstrate a financial need. It can be used toward college or trade school tuition, which is really kind of a cool thing. Need more information on that? You can go to the Annapolis Police Department's website, and it is right there. And on that Papa John's donation thing, if you use the promo code APD Scholar 40, Annapolis Police Department Scholar 40, they'll take 40% off of all of your orders and donate a portion of that directly to the scholarship fund. So when you're getting your Papa John's pizza, make sure you use APD 40. Kudos to one of our harbor masters. On Friday afternoon, a man was found in Ego Alley. He was being assisted by some citizens, and Brady Levasseur, a 19-year-old harbor master from Kent Island, responded by commandeering a water taxi, which was the fastest way, when he saw that the man was unable to hold on to a life ring. When he got there, he jumped in, he held him above water, guided him to a ladder where others were able to hoist him to safety. We don't have any word on how the man favored when he got to the hospital, but Brady's actions were nothing short of heroic, and I would imagine we're going to see him in City Hall pretty soon with a citation. Bad news for some foodies. Paladar Latin Kitchen and Rum Bar in the Annapolis Town Center has closed. They are just the latest in a spate of restaurant closings in the area due to the impact of COVID-19. We did confirm the closure with the local management of their Gaithersburg location. Currently, there are 3 other locations for Paladar in the United States: Woodmere, Ohio, Gaithersburg, Maryland, and King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. The 3 do currently remain open for now, and any gift cards that were issued in Annapolis will be honored at the other locations. My advice to you, use them sooner rather than later. And finally, just a reminder, the Anne Arundel County Public Libraries are getting up to speed once again. They are now set up for in-person appointments at all of the system's 16 locations. Customers can now access the library buildings, browse stacks of books, movies, music, use a computer, get help from the staff, etc. But you do need an appointment to do it. Call the branch. They will set you up with an appointment, and you can go. If you need to find the phone number of the branch, aacpl.net/location is the place you want to go. And you also want to keep in mind that the library has been continuing to increase their virtual programs and digital offerings because of COVID. They've got Zoom, they've got Facebook Live, and you also want to look at their calendar of events for a complete list of the virtual programs. There's virtually something going on every single day. All right, that does wrap it up for us today. You want to make sure you're checking out eyeonannapolis.net for updates to these stories and more throughout the day. We will have an update on that murder up in Glen Burnie. I do know that for a fact. If you are someplace you can leave us a rating or a review, please do that. And make sure your friends and family and colleagues all know about the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief, how to get it, how to subscribe to it, and have it delivered right to their phone or tablet. It is Monday, so we do have Alsina hanging out with your Money Monday report. And as we have every single day of the week, George Young with your local DCMD-VA weather forecast is coming up. All that in just 1 minute, but first, here is Rick Peters from Solar Energy Services.
Hello, energy consumers. This is Rick Peters, president of Solar Energy Services. Have you been looking for ways to save money recently? Maybe you should consider solar energy for your home. Or are you waiting for the technology to get cheaper? If so, how long are you going to wait? Today's solar costs less than 20% of what it cost 10 years ago. But while solar prices have declined every year, so have the financial incentives. Bottom line, if you wait for cheaper solar, you're also waiting for lower incentives. Take my home, for example. My solar system was installed in 2010, and it's been paid off for almost 5 years, and I no longer have to buy any electricity for another 15 to 20 years. If I waited for cheaper solar, I'd still be paying an electric bill. At Solar Energy Services, we have thousands of satisfied customers who are sure glad they didn't wait. So what are you waiting for? Sunshine's a wasted. Call us today for a free solar design at 410-923-6090 or on the web at solarsaves.net.
Sunshine, sunshine, nothing else can make me feel so fine.
When you live near Annapolis, you know how fickle the weather can be. So you need a truly local forecast that's accurate and reliable. Forecast right here in Annapolis. DCMD VA weather is not just for today, but for the rest of the week and the weekend too. Now here's George Young of DCMD VA weather with the weather outlook for today and beyond.
Hey everyone, this is George with DCMD VA Weather, and this is your Eye on Annapolis forecast for Monday, September 14th. The weekend weather worked out pretty well across the Annapolis region, staying dry with fairly comfortable temps each day around the area as summer finally starts to wind down a bit. And this week should bring more of the same with some noticeably cooler weather by the weekend. Look for highs today near 80 degrees with a very small chance of showers or storms as a cold front pushes through the region. setting the stage for a great day tomorrow with highs 70 to 75 degrees and max sunshine. More nice weather Wednesday and Thursday with highs in the 75 to 80 degree range before another frontal boundary brings a chance of rain late Thursday through much of Friday, allowing some crisp fall-like air to enter the region for the weekend with highs only in the 66 to 72 degree range both Saturday and Sunday, with morning lows each day in the upper 40s to mid-50s throughout Anne Arundel County. Okay, that's it for today. This is George Young of DCMDVA Weather. Make it a great day out there. Stay healthy and be safe. And be sure to get our free app on all of your devices by searching DCMDVA Weather in the Apple or Google App Stores. And also follow us on Facebook and Twitter. And use our website each day at DCMDVAweather.com so you can always stay weather informed.
Here's to the teacher who spends her weekend helping children who need a little extra attention. To the soldier who missed the birth of his baby while serving overseas. To the EMT working full-time and taking night classes. To the police officers and firefighters working long hours away from their families to keep our families safe. Here's to you, our hometown heroes. I'm Alan Hyatt, Chairman and President of Severn Bank, and we know there are many heroes among us, men and women who serve without expecting anything in return, which is why we're honored to offer our Hometown Heroes program to educators, law enforcement officers, firefighters, first responders, healthcare workers, and military personnel. Whether you're opening a checking account or buying a new home, we're here to give back to you. Learn more about our Hometown Heroes program at SevernBank.com. Severn Bank, here with you.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You work hard for your money. Is your money working hard for you? Managing and investing, it can be confusing. Ann Alsina, a financial planner from CovingtonAlsina, has been helping people make sense of it all for over 17 years. Are you ready? Now here's your Monday Money Report.
This is Ann Alsina of CovingtonAlsina with your Monday Money Report. Last week, the market had a second consecutive week of losses, coming down from all-time highs. Is it time to panic? Probably not. Since the low in March, the S&P has risen over 40%. Year-to-date, it is still up over 3%. This up one day, down a day performance is pretty normal for the market. We have periods where we have less volatility and periods with more volatility, but overall, you can expect to see about 2/3 of the time the market is up, which means it's down about 1/3 of the time. If you're a baseball fan, a 600 batting average is pretty good. And if you're a long-term investor, it's helpful to know that the overall market has never had a negative 15-year run. Investing is all about time in the market. In past episodes, we've talked about life insurance and long-term care insurance. One other area that is often overlooked is disability insurance. This insurance replaces a portion of your income if you are unable to work. There are two kinds of disability insurance, short-term and long-term. Short-term insurance is useful for accidents or recovering from an illness. Coverage generally starts day 1 for an accident and day 7 for an illness and lasts about 90 days. Long-term insurance typically starts after 90 days and runs until retirement age. Traditionally, that was 65, but we are starting to see policies issued to age 70. These policies pay you 60 to 65% of your income if you are unable to work. That definition of unable to work will vary based on the policy. The highest standard is own occupation, which says that if you are unable to perform all of the duties of your current occupation, it will pay benefits. So if you're a surgeon and can no longer operate on patients, it will pay benefits even if you can still teach at a medical college. These policies have higher premiums than ones that only look at your overall ability to work. Some policies have residual or partial benefits. If you can work part-time or in a reduced capacity, it will pay benefits based on how much your income was reduced due to the disability. Some include coverage if you need to provide care for a family member. Policies typically only cover 60 to 65% of your income to avoid creating a moral hazard or a reason to claim a disability when there isn't one. If you pay the premiums with after-tax dollars, the benefits come to you tax-free. If you factor in taxes, reduced commuting costs, etc., 60 to 65% of your income is pretty close to your net before you were hurt or became ill. Disability insurance is also different than workers' compensation. That only covers you for accidents and injuries incurred on the job, while disability insurance doesn't care how or why you are unable to work, just that you can't. If you're paying into Social Security, you also have disability coverage through that program. While these benefits are not going to replace your full income by any means, it does include the added bonus that, once you have been disabled for 2 years, you qualify for Medicare. Some disability insurance policies coordinate with Social Security, so your benefits will be offset by what you receive from Social Security. The easiest and least expensive way to obtain disability insurance is through your employer if they offer it. If you're fortunate enough to have group coverage at work and have the option, pay for it with after-tax dollars. During open enrollment, consider choosing both short and long-term disability if offered. Premiums for a personal policy are generally 2 to 3% of the income you are insuring, although that will vary based on your occupation and policy specifics. At CovingtonAlsina, we're independent and can provide you with quotes from several carriers. We also have some great educational events over the next 2 months, including virtual talks on healthcare and retirement, Social Security, and our Retire on Purpose and Women, Wine, and Wisdom seminars. You can register for these and more on our website, CovingtonAlsina.com, or check out our Facebook page to learn more. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Great Valley Advisor Group, a registered investment advisor. CovingtonAlsina and Great Valley Advisor Group are separate entities from LPL Financial. All performance references historical is no guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested into directly. The opinions voiced in this show are for general information only, are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which strategies or investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial advisor or tax advisor prior to investing. And if you don't have a financial advisor, come talk to us. This is Ann Alsina with CovingtonAlsina.
You've been listening to the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief. Tell your friends and colleagues, this is the podcast where you can keep up on the latest with what's going on in Annapolis and Anne Arundel County. And don't forget about our website, eyeonannapolis.net, where you can find even more information. And make sure you follow us on Facebook at All Annapolis and on Twitter at Eye on Annapolis. This Daily News Brief podcast comes to you every Monday through Friday at 6 a.m.